Now that we've all had our hands on Bridge Crew for about 2 weeks, it's time to expose it for what it really is. A shitty game. In this video, I'm going to kind of explain myself and explain my reasoning behind why I think Star Trek being $50 is an absolute joke. I want to explain my viewpoint on multiplayer games, especially multiplayer co-op games. I think that anything will be made more fun with your friends, and I think you would agree. You could be playing a game together or watching a movie together or even watching paint dry. It's always better with friends. So the argument that, oh, Star Trek is amazing because you can play it with your friends doesn't hold up for me at all. Now I understand that this game has an emphasis on teamwork and the multiplayer side of things, and that's undoubtedly the best way to play it. However, multiplayer is going to be fun if you're with 3 of your friends regardless. And the mechanics underneath that multiplayer experience in Bridge Crew are pretty much non-existent. The game mechanics are so shallow that there's nothing to even really sink your teeth into. You're so limited by what you can do at each of the stations that it really takes a lot of the excitement out of the experience. Most of the roles only have like one main thing that they do, and that gets old after like 10 minutes of playing. Not to mention the fact that most of the actions that you're doing are just increasing a thing here, tapping a button here, pressing these buttons. Like, that's very little gameplay, and it gets old really quick. And the reason of this video isn't just to complain, it's to get an idea of if you guys are regretting your $50 purchase or not. Are you still playing, or did you get bored like me and now are just out 50 bucks and don't really have much else to do? Before the Steam Summer Sale, of course. So leave a comment. I'm really interested to hear your guys' opinions. Also, before I dissect each of the different roles and explain why they're really, really boring, I want you to keep in mind one word: restriction. Because a lot of the tension and a lot of the interaction that is kind of manufactured by this game only stems from you being restricted. Just keep that in mind. So let's start with the most egregious of the 4, the helm. Holy shit, how is this even a role? This role is an absolute joke, and the only real mechanics that you have control of are the throttle and turning left and right and moving your ship up and down. That's all you're giving me? I want to feel like I'm flying a ship. I don't want to just be moving a dot back and forth to turn left and right. Yeah, you get to push the warp drive lever every once in a while, but other than that, there's nothing to it. The helmsman is basically a bona fide bus driver. All you do is shuttle your group of merry men to each objective and then sit there for them to do the other stuff. Most of the time, you just get yelled at by the tactician too for not turning the boat the correct direction because it steers like an absolute freighter. Why couldn't you give me a smaller ship? Why couldn't you make me feel like my actions mean something when I decide to say, give me all the power you have, engineer, and he says, 5,000 power coming your way, and you go, all right, we're at full speed, guys. Maybe we'll make it out of here. It's so incredibly restricted. You have very little effect in combat. Why can't I blast past a bunch of enemies and then do a loop-de-loop kind of deal to get into a flanking position? Why can't I do any kind of maneuvers like that? It's so boring and it's so mundane that combat doesn't even feel exciting. Plus, to add insult to injury, the captain can do pretty much the entire other half of this entire role, which is plotting out star systems and deciding where to jump and when to jump to. The captain has all of that information at his dashboard, so he can make the calls, he can select the systems, and once again, you're stuck just going like this. Exciting the first time, really, really boring after the 10th time. Speaking of captain, wow, is this role completely useless. You're basically just pressing the Skype button and listening to people blab at you about mission details. Your only use is to be a quest log and to say, adventurer, go to this star system. The captain feels completely powerless. You're supposed to be the captain of the motherfucking ship, and you have like the least power of anyone to control anything. And unless you're role-playing like crazy and you're relaying everything that you ask for through the captain, he says, yes, we'll do this and no shields today. Unless you're doing that, the captain role is completely useless, and you could pretty much tell your crew, all right, we need to go over here and then take a nap. And the reason the captain role is completely pointless is because all the other roles are so self-explanatory. The helmsman knows how to drive the ship. The engineer knows where to put the power because the helmsman just asked him for some. It's a completely pointless exercise. Give me some decisions to make. Imagine this. What if there was some onboard turmoil, like there was a spy on the ship and you had to make a decision to either risk losing your engines for the entire mission or half of your engines for the entire mission, or maybe losing one of your helmsmen or losing one of your crew members for 5 minutes. That would be a really exciting decision to make, and stuff that actually has consequences on the gameplay, once again, is non-existent in this game. You're just not into it enough. You need to pretend more. Don't tell me what to do with the game. So let's move on to tactical. What can we do? We're in charge of the weapons. This sounds exciting, right? Again, every action is done by going boop. So what can you do as the weapons master? You can shoot a laser beam. You can shoot a missile once every like 2 minutes. Or the third thing you can do is ask engineering for more power so you can shoot those things farther. That doesn't sound like it'll get old. You're completely dependent on a helmsman who can only do so much in maneuvering this horrible ship. It doesn't make for fun gameplay, and a lot of the time it's tense because it's slow. Oh my god, am I gonna be able to look at that thing in time? And is the missile gonna be charged? Let's find, we're dead. Cool. The third and by far most exciting part of being the tactician is scanning things. Wow. Scanning is always fun in games. Right, Mass Effect 2? So now you've scanned them, what can you do? Well, you might be able to disrupt the systems, but that is on the everyone can do it panel. And if you're not fast enough, then someone else will be completely in charge of disrupting the systems that you worked so hard to scan. Oh wait, I forgot to mention too, you can flick the shield on and off as well. It's as exciting as turning on a light switch. Also, the shield takes like forever to turn on. Like, what year are we in? Again, the feeling of tension is so artificial. Why does the shield take so long to recharge? Oh, because you have to worry about maybe getting shot for 12 seconds, and it makes you think there's a decision involved for turning them on and off, when in reality, there's not usually. And last but not least, let's look at the most exciting role, relatively, engineering, who is basically the captain of the ship. Engineering is in charge of all power routing on the ship, which means that they can control how fast the ship can move, how far the weapons can shoot, and how much shield power is surrounding the ship. Also, they're able to repair different systems that may have taken damage, as well as arming the warp drive, which seems like something that, I don't know, the helm person would do? Maybe? Apparently not. The engineer just gets that too. The engineer is all-powerful, which means that instead of going to the captain to ask for things or to make decisions, it usually just goes straight to the engineer, and the engineer eventually just kind of takes on the captain role. Engineering completely throws off the balance of the game by being so much more complex and so much more consequential. The actions of the engineer just surpass all the other roles and make him the person to go to whenever something needs to be done. Also, I know you probably already commented, but what about staying stealthy and affecting systems and lowering shields so you don't get detected? Yeah, the engineer is in charge of all of that too. If he needs the shields down, he'll just drop them himself. No input required from the tactician. If he doesn't want engines on, he just takes away the power from the engines. It's really not a group decision because the engineer can just decide everything himself. And the fact that you're in charge of all the decisions, the fact that you call all the shots, makes engineering one of the roles that I enjoy playing. But even then, it only lasts for so long. So all in all, none of these roles are fun to play. It's as simple as that for me, and if a game isn't fun, it doesn't matter if I'm playing with friends or by myself, I'm gonna wanna play something better, and you guys should too. I realized very quickly that the VR community is very conscious about how much game they're getting for their money. And this seems like one of the worst value propositions to date, yet people are eating it up. I think that proves that there needs to be more multiplayer cooperative experiences in VR, and it works really, really well. But don't spend your money on this one. Wait for something better. Again, I'm really curious to see what you guys think of all of this, if you think that I'm being too hard on it, or if you've kind of had the same thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say. And with that, I guess that wraps up this more ranty than usual video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and it's the first time you've seen this channel, welcome. You can click on either of these buttons right here to be taken to some of my other stuff. Some stuff's funny. You probably won't think it is, but whatever. Or you can click this button to subscribe as well. I've rambled for long enough. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you next time.